All right, your Roman's numeral this morning, 7,000. Disney CEO Bob Iger says the company will begin laying off those 7,000 workers starting this week. That's about 3% of its global workforce. Iger is cutting costs in his return to Disney after the company's board fired Bob Chapek last year. Looking at markets around the world right now, Asia markets finished mixed. European stocks are higher with gains in the region's banking sector, and on Wall Street, stock index futures this hour barely moving when we checked in on them last. Markets finished mixed overall. The Dow added nearly 200 points. The Nasdaq finished down as tech stocks move lower. Regional bank stocks rallying. Investor confidence on the health of regional banks improving after First Citizens' agreement to purchase Silicon Valley Bank. On Inflation Watch, gas prices held steady at $3.44 a gallon. And coming up today, March's consumer confidence numbers are due out later this morning. All right, 9 interest rate hikes, 3 bank failures, mortgage rates double where they were last year. What does that all mean for the critical spring season in real estate? Joining me to talk through it is Bess Freedman. She is CEO of Brown Harris Stevens, a real estate company with 3,000 agents in Florida, New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. So, Bess, are we seeing enthusiasm heading into the spring season? Are we stabilizing here? What is your take, I guess, on what's happening?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a mixture of so many different things. As you just articulated, rates just went up again, and it's been, a year of 9 interest rate hikes. So that's cumulative, and people are feeling that. We saw rates go down a little bit. Now they went up a little bit. So I think it's going to be a little bit of ebb and flow. And the bank collapsing.
Now, how does that affect psychology? Have you noticed it yet?
I mean, I think the consumer feels a little bit, uncertain. It makes people feel not great about going in there, what's going on. I do think it's a good thing that it was attributed to mismanagement versus systemic.
Right.
So that's a good thing so that they don't have to worry about this being a bigger problem. And I think the disaster was averted. But I think we have so many moving pieces. We have inflation, we have rates going up. And people are a little bit strained. You can feel it in the consumer psychology today. You just feel it out there.
I was looking at new home sales numbers recently, and they were surprisingly strong in my view. Is it because interest rates, mortgage rates, they're off the highs recently? And are people, I guess, adjusting to the reality that we're not going back to 3%?
I like how you say they're adjusting to the 6 handle.
Yeah,
the 6 handle.
Adjusting to the 6 handle.
I think they are adjusting to the 6 handle. I think that, we saw February numbers, existing home sales were up 14.5%. That's really good, but that's because rates dipped in January. So when that happens, buyers get out there and they buy homes. And so I think people are adjusting to this. This is the new landscape. Powell said that he's not going to cut rates this year, so we have to live with the 6 handle, give or take.
What is the bigger factor, lack of inventory or mortgage rates at this point?
I think lack of inventory has been a challenge overall. And I also think sellers still have to keep coming down on prices. We're not there yet because we need a good intersection of supply and demand.
The Wall Street Journal calls this a tale of 2 housing markets. You've got home prices falling out west. In some of those tech hubs especially, where they just went up like a rocket, and holding in the South and the Northeast. What are you seeing?
I think a lot of people, have, as we've seen, moved to places like Texas and Florida, and there's still a great demand there. And I think we're seeing a change in those tech hubs, and I think that's going to be for a while. I think people are, we've seen a lot of layoffs, and I think people are moving. And so it is a tale of 2 different places, and we see it everywhere.
When you look at Phoenix, San Francisco, Salt Lake, so finally those prices are coming down, but you look at how much they're coming down. They had been up double digits for 10 years in a row or something, right?
It's time. It's a day of reckoning. The prices need to come down. And once they come down, then you're going to start to see buyers get out there and buy more. As you said, you have a relative who's now renting because, buying is just, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, in Phoenix, trying to figure out how to enter the Phoenix market after years of it just going, through the roof.
And then now couple that with rates being up double what they were. So people are kind of trying to figure out what's going to happen. So sellers need to come down on prices, and people have to accept the fact that rates are where they are. They're at the 6%, the 6 handles. What I'm going to be using your 6 handle from now on.
Good,
love
good.
It.
Adjusting to the 6 handle. But I just want, all real estate is always local. So that's why I love this home prices year over year.
It is always local.
It just depends on jobs, the layoffs there, what the focus is of the industries,
100%. It's never one story. It's very nuanced depending on where you are. And as I always say, the market is there to serve you. And based on people's circumstances, they're going to buy, they're going to rent. If they're moving, it all depends on those things. So it's always many different stories.
Absolutely. All right, Bess Freedman. It's always nice to see you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Brown Harris Stevens.